Hello, all my JavaScript friends. This is TheVirtuoid, aka Mike Smith, and this is our racing game. In this video, we're going to install Cucumber. Again, Cucumber is a product that allows us to do BDD, or behavior-driven design, programming within our project. And we're going to be doing this specifically so that we can use features like what is mentioned on the screen currently, which gives more English language ways of describing what we want our particular project, or in this case, the particular function, to be able to do. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to install the interface that allows us to use Cypress or Cucumber with Cypress, and that is a Cypress Cucumber preprocessor from Betaball, I guess that's how it's pronounced. I will have links to everything in the comment section. Let's go ahead and get that installed. And then there's also going to be a ESBuild preprocessor that we're going to need to install also a little bit later on, which we'll be installing next as soon as this one finishes up here. This module is not supported. Leaks memory. That's not very good. We'll have to report that to them so they can get that fixed. But actually, let's just to see what would happen. I wonder if it will fix it automatically. npm audit fix. Maybe not. I don't know. Yep. Okay. It didn't really do anything. That's fine. No problem. Okay. So the second thing we need to do is to install what we call an ESBuild preprocessor. And this part will install us the preprocessor, ESBuild preprocessor, that we'll need to get everything working nice and pretty like. So let's go ahead and get that installed. It would help if I hit enter. And I've misspelled it, so let's try that again. Okay, so let's see, Tov, T-O-V, Cypress ESBuild preprocessor. And there we go. It has now been added. So we've gotten everything that we wanted to put into the program. So let's now go into our code and get that all fixed up. And there's two places we're going to want to change our code. Now, the first place I want to change it is within a Cypress config file. Now, what I have done is I've got mine separated into TDD and BDD. And with my TDD, I'm going to be using Cypress config.js, which we have not changed. In fact, we take a look at that. You can see there's pretty much absolutely nothing inside there. But let's take a look at the Cypress Cucumber config and see what we have changed there. A lot more that's going on in this particular one here, but it's not really a whole lot more. The really two important things is first of all the spec pattern. The spec pattern is going to be taking a look at, or we need to specify where our feature files are going to be located. And in my particular case, within the racing game, I've got everything within a BDD subdirectory here. So this is where I have all of my particular features. And so therefore I have specified the feature file, or that directory, and specifically said, give me all the feature files. Now, why not the Cypress JavaScript files? That just doesn't work. You need to point to the feature files. And second of all, we're going to need to set up a preprocessor on the files, and that preprocessor is going to be our ESBuild plugin. So, First thing we want to do is we want to actually add it in there. We want to set up the events for Node. And that allows us to, first of all, add in the Cucumber processor, and then after we finish doing each of the pre-processing on the files, we want to be able to do this particular plugin, which is the create ESBuild plugin. So these are the two important things you're going to need to be able to do within your config file to get everything to work correctly. Again, make sure you add the Cucumber preprocessor in there, and then on each individual file, make sure that you put a plugin there for creating the ESBuild plugin. And finally, also point to your feature files. That's very, very important. And then as you can tell in my package.json file here, I have now also included a bunch of different test files. Let me bring that up into the middle of the screen here. There we go. So these test files, basically, I got these two who are pointing to the config, my original Cypress config file, and that allows me to be able to do or to process the TDD files. And then I got these two that will allow me to test for the BDD that will point to the Cypress Cucumber config.javascript file. So that's the reason I have two different Cypress Cucumber. Excuse me. That's why I have two different Cypress config files available. So real simple setup. Once you get that set up, all you then need to do is to create your two different things. You need to create your feature. In this case, I've created a very simple little feature, which says, you know, I want to, this is, my scenario is going to be a click on Hello World. And by the way, this uses the Gherkin language. I'll put a link inside the description to tell you exactly what the Gherkin language is. Once you have defined your scenario, you basically have a three-step process. Given a bunch of different parameters that are already set and ready to go, in this case, I have launched the racing game. When a particular event occurs, in this case, I want to say I want to click on the Hello World button. So I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of Hello World button there. Then I should see the Hello World text. And so basically that's what the Gherkin language does. It explains in a more English fashion, you know, what are my conditions for this particular test? What are the functions that I'm going to perform on this particular test? And what are the results that I am going to expect? And that's within a given verb, a when verb, and a then verb. Now, again, that's part of the Gherkin language, and I'll have a link to that also in the comments not the comments section, I'm sorry, in the description section. So how does this actually get tested? Let's go back over to our directory here. Within the racing game, let's go into the BDD. This is going to be within the step definitions. And this is where you're going to need to now be able to tell Cypress where to find these step definitions. Where do you find that? It's real easy. If you go into your package.json, what you want to do is, let's get that back on full screen. Once you're in the Cypress.json, it has a specific plugin. Cypress.json. Did I say that? No, package.json. What you want to do is you want to be able to put this Cypress Cucumber preprocessor line inside here, and this allows me to be able to tell Cypress and the Cucumber plugin where the step definitions are located. So within the Cucumber, you have the feature, and then you have the step definitions. And those step definitions allow you to say, this is what we're going to do on the given, this is what we're going to do in the when, and this is what we're going to do on the then section. So let's take a look at that right now. So all that was within BDD step definitions. Let's go over to our BDD step definitions. Well, here they are right there. Right now, I just got one defined, and that one is defined here within the test.feature. So if we go back to our test.feature, those are our scenarios. Click on Hello World. Given that I have launched the racing game, I click on the Hello World button, then I should see the Hello World text. Let's take a look at that test.cy.js. So what you have here is very, very easy and very simple. Let me bring back up on the full screen. Here is the given, here is the when, and here is the then. So basically what I'm saying here is that before any of this happens, I want to be able to do certain operations. In this case, I'm clearing cookies and clearing local storage. Now, in my game, I probably won't be doing a lot of that, except maybe local storage. But the important thing here is that I now have a given, a when, and a then. Now, how does it match these two up? Well, it all matches up based upon the description here, where I have launched the racing game within the given. That needs to match the given here on the test.feature, or it will not work. So the key here is that when you do the English definitions here for your givens and your whens and your then, they must match the given, the when, and the then here inside of your application, here inside of your test. So this is a very simple one. Given that I visit the racing game, I'm just visiting the home page here. I click on the Hello World button. I'm trying to find the button, I'm doing a selector to get the button, and I want to make sure it contains Hello World, and if it does, I want to click on click. And then if I click on click, it should appear, I should see the Hello World text now should be visible within the test. And that's really all there is to it. So when Cypress runs, it's going to take a look at all those features, and it's going to hook itself into this test.cy.js, and then it's going to do everything it needs to do from there. So do you want to see it in action? Well, let's take a quick look at it in action, and we'll type it in npm run test bdd. That's going to do its thing. Okay, and there's the first screen that you'll see, and then we're going to do the E2E testing. It's going to let us choose a browser. We're going to choose Chrome. It's going to do its thing, and it's going to come back and say, well, here's all of your test. Let's see if we can zoom in just a little bit on all of that. Okay, there we go. We've got that zoomed in just a little bit so you can see it. There's my test way down the bottom down there. So we'll click on the test feature. We click on test feature and it runs the test on the left-hand side and it gives you the screenshots on the right-hand side. Now, obviously, it showed that the get button could not be found because you can see there's no hello world. Oh, I'm sorry, they couldn't find the hello world button, so there's no hello world button on that particular screen. So let's go ahead just to make sure everything works correctly. Let's put a hello world button on that screen. And that's just going to be simply just editing the editing the index file, popping it on there. So I'm going to get a button that contains hello world. So let's go to our index file. Okay, so now we got a button that contained a hello world. Let's flip back over to our screen and see if it gave us something. So let's refresh. Still cannot find the button. Let's go back to our test to make sure we've got that correctly. So on our test here, we are... I know what I forgot to do. I forgot to rebuild and reconfigure. I'm going to do a quick let's do that real quick. Okay, I've restarted the server. That should have fixed it up a little bit better. Let's do a refresh here. Yeah, now it works a little bit better because we now have the Hello World button. So when I click on the Hello World button, it should expect to see Get Hello World text. Expect the Hello World text to be visible. You can kind of see that. Let's kind of collapse these just a little bit so you can see what's happening. So the given worked great. The when worked great because it now found the button. Then I should see the Hello World text. It tries to get Hello World text, but it couldn't find it, and it should be visible. So what we'll do is we will go back into our program, and we will make it invisible by doing this. That's what we're looking for on our test, I believe. And yeah, hello world text is the ID that we're looking at, so that's perfect. We're going to need to put a class of hidden on there to make sure it's hidden. Actually, yep, we'll do that. So we'll need to change our CSS because our CSS, we need to put a hidden class in there. So dot hidden display, whoop, got to spell it right. Display none. So that's our display none on the racing game PCS. So now all we have to do is put the JavaScript in there that when we click on the hello world, we're going to basically take the hidden off of the hello world test. So let's go into our test JavaScript file. And we'll just say, we'll do it the really easy way here. We'll do get element by ID. That's going to be hello world. Dot add event listener, click. And when we do the click, we're going to go document, get element ID, hello world text, dot class list, dot remove hidden. And that should do it. So now that we've got that on there, let's bring back up our Cypress. Let's reboot our server. And once the server's rebooted, which it is now, let's go ahead and do the refresh. The following error originated, cannot read properties of null. So I've obviously made a mistake. So let's fix that particular mistake. Cannot read, let's see, cannot read properties of null reading class list. So let's see what happened on class list. So I was trying to get hello world text. Let's make sure I got that correct. Yeah, see I misspelled test. It should be text. Let's just make sure that's what we were looking for in our test. Yeah, it's hello world text. Yep, that was my whoopsies. That was my mistake. So let's go back to here. Let's rebuild one more time. Get this thing back up and running. We got it back up and running. Now let's hit our refresh button. And bingo bango, it now completely works. Our before works, our given works, our when works, and our then works. So everybody is very happy. So that is how you use Cucumber with Cypress. I'm going to really like the fact I can use a more natural English language way to be able to describe the test. And that's also going to allow me to be able to give that away to other people so that they can understand it a little bit better more. And I'm thinking more of my pay the mortgage type job type thing. So that's it for the Cucumber and Cypress. Thanks for listening. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel to view more videos. Click on the like button on this video and visit us at virtuoid.com. Also, support us on Patreon, where you can get access to member-only videos. Links are down below. Again, thank you very much for watching, and keep on coding.